Sorry. I thought Scott told you. So.
We have to do that for each committee.
Yeah. All right, I'll call the Planning and Development Committee to order. And before we get into the agenda, I'm going to ask for a motion that we change the order of business tonight to reflect the Planning and Development Committee meeting going first.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second with no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
To address some of the concerns. And I can speak to those specifically. Mainly, we reduced the 5 years on the timber harvesting to 3. We did add, in terms of a permit required, one of the reasons being that if a tree is within 8 feet of an existing primary structure with a permanent foundation, added that in there. I know that was a major concern. Clarified in terms of encroachment that it's just a third of the tree protection zone, not a fourth or third. And then the last one, I think those were the main ones, I believe.
Yeah, those are the main ones. And I will say that we have the most capable tree committee, I think, of any municipality. Everybody on that board is either an arborist or a horticulturalist. So on a lot of these issues, they educated me. On other issues, we compromised, but I think ultimately we have an ordinance that we can live with and all be happy with.
Well, very good. Any other questions? You got any questions, Bob? Good. All right, I'll have a motion.
I make a motion that we send the full council with the recommendation for approval.
All right, motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Did y'all want to take the next 3 items together?
Yeah, I think that would be best. We're all basically just
So we need to
related.
make a motion to that effect to consider them at the same time.
I'll make a motion if we pay. items B, C, and D altogether.
Second.
A motion and a second, no discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right, I will read them out. Petition by Nash Nexton Holdings LLC to annex a portion of TMS number 19500000046 located off Wild Game Road, Sheep Island Road, Nexton Parkway, and Grand Boulevard, and totaling approximately 738 acres, currently zoned PDMU, Planned Development District Mixed Use Development in Berkeley County, and requested to be zoned PUD, Planned Unit Development District, following annexation into the town of Somerville's municipal limits. This would be in Council District 2. Planning Commission held a public hearing and made a recommendation to deny the annexation and zoning at its meeting on November 17th. Do you want me to go ahead and read all three? Okay, I'll. Okay, thank you. Consideration of a development agreement with Nash Nexton Holdings LLC for that certain property identified as approximately 738 acres located in Berkeley County along Wild Game Road, Sheep Island Road, Nexton Parkway, and Grand Boulevard, and comprised of a portion of TMS number 19500000046. The development plan includes single-family residential, commercial, and civic community recreation land uses. The required public hearings will be held at the December and January council meetings. And then consideration of a proposed Sixth Amendment to the Nexton Development Agreement by and between Nash Nexton Holdings LLC and the town of Somerville for that certain property known as Nexton, located along Highway 17A, North Main Street in town of Somerville, South Carolina. Amendment includes removal of the requirement to provide acreage for a municipal facility. The required public hearing will be held at the December council meeting. And Beth, can you go back to that? Thank you. Land use probably would be better to describe. So if you look at the proposed land use exhibit for what's being called Creekside at Nexton, you'll see the total 738 acres is split into two different districts. There's the neighborhood residential district, which is on the left side of your screen, and then the neighborhood mixed use district on the right side of your screen. And the total allowed uses for the PUD would be 1,233 residential units, and then 100,000 square feet of medical office and 100,000 square feet of shopping center retail. There is a matrix within the PUD that would allow some switching of uses, particularly in the mixed use district. However, the neighborhood residential district and the mixed use districts do have certain permitted uses that are only allowed in those districts. There is a traffic impact analysis that was provided with the PUD that is has undergone a third-party review, and we are working through what would be required. That is the overarching traffic impact analysis. As the individual uses within the development come in to be developed, it would undergo additional traffic impact analyses to determine exact mitigation requirements for traffic.
Just-
Nexton, oh, go ahead.
Will the traffic impact study, will that be done for both sides or just each for the residential and the mixed use? Out of what we have on our screen right now? Or would it be one traffic study?
So
Okay.
right now it's one traffic study
Okay.
for the total.
Mhm.
Like I said, as the different uses come in,
Right.
it's site-specific uses, then they will do individual traffic studies for
Specific.
those uses.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so they'll have.
But the
specific-
proposed intensities, the traffic study is kind of what informed the highest intensity that could be for, so the number of dwelling units and the square footage of the medical office and the shopping center retail were based upon what could reasonably be met with the overarching traffic study. So that's kind of my introduction. As far as the development agreement, the amendment to the current town of Somerville Nexton development agreement, removing the requirement to provide acreage. That's because it is being added to the Creekside development agreement, and it will actually be 2 acres rather than just a single acre, because as y'all well know, it's very difficult to do a functioning site with just an acre nowadays.
Do we know where that parcel would be? Or-
We have not identified a site yet for that, but that's something that obviously we'd work closely with our fire chief
Mhm.
and Nexon to identify what would make the most sense in terms of where that would be located and working with Berkeley County as
Right.
well.
Yeah, when they say municipal complex, I mean, my mind is thinking fire, of course, but that's,
It's
yeah.
anticipated to most likely be fire, but we leave that flexibility in there for it to be a
Right.
municipal facility.
Jesse, am I safe in assuming that even if we don't annex this, it'll still get developed?
Yeah, I mean, it is already a part of the Nexton PDMU in Berkeley County. The part that is identified as the neighborhood residential district in our proposed PUD is what they call rural residential within the existing Nexton PDMU. It allows, I believe, 447 dwelling units on half-acre lots. And it was intended at the time it was approved to be septic served. Now it would all be served by sewer.
Okay.
And then the other portion is approved for basically the same uses that we're allowing within the Nexton PDMU in Berkeley County right now on the other portion.
It would be served by sewer if it's annexed.
Correct, if it's annexed, it would have to be served by sewer. Otherwise, it could still
Okay.
technically be
So
served
It
by
was, it
septic.
was super on a septic system.
Yeah, and then my understanding from the Nexon folks is that in their removal of this portion of the land from Berkeley County, which is proposed as a change to the Berkeley County Development Agreement, they'd also be reducing the total allowed dwelling units in the Berkeley PDMU total by 2,000 units.
So say that again. So by us annexing this, it's going to reduce the number of houses by 2,000.
Well, so we would allow 1,233. They would reduce the Berkeley County by 2,000. So it's actually reducing it by 767
Understood. Okay.
total.
Yeah, so we got a net less.
Net less for the whole Nexon development of
767.
767.
Yeah, you're welcome, so.
And the residential portion, just single family, no apartments.
No apartments on the neighborhood residential. There are some supporting kind of civic uses that could be on there and educational uses and agricultural, like a garden and roadside stand, farmer market, that type of thing. But it would not allow for apartments, correct?
And no additional school sites on this annexation because those are already covered under.
Correct,
Previous
unless it
development.
was, like a charter school or something that chose to locate, or, like a daycare type school that chose to locate in that area.
And what's the build out?
It's a 10-year development agreement as that's what's allowed by state law, and that's what the anticipated schedule is based
Okay.
on.
What's the acreage? Do you have an acreage breakdown between the two sizes?
Yes,
yeah,
so if you
actually, yeah, I
look at
see
the
it
chart, I
now.
know it's
Yeah,
kind of hard to
yeah,
read.
yeah.
The neighborhood district is a total of 607.27 acres, and the mixed use is 131.04. That includes the wetlands and the buffers that are to remain. So they're not changing their wetland permits or anything of that sort. And so the neighborhood district does have almost 140 acres of wetlands and buffers. And the mixed use has approximately 72 acres of wetlands and buffers.
And they've already got the wetlands identified and won't be,
There
No-
no
no-
plans to change
no,
the.
no mitigations whatsoever. But
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
just
they've
because
already,
they know that, they've already taken care of that, they've already addressed that in the previous.
And with this annexation, we're just taking in the 738 acres. We're not proposing to annex any additional property or any existing homes or,
no, sir.
okay, but they could.
I
If
mean,
they're contiguous to
if
this
they
part.
wanted to and they were
Yes, yeah.
contiguous, they could request annexation, but it is not a part of this annexation.
Understood. Okay.
You cannot compel anybody to come into the town.
Right. And we're not annexing any property that's already developed.
Correct.
Chairman, I'll make a motion that we, unless you guys want to do it.
I'm good. I'll save any other comments till Thursday.
Okay, yeah, there'll be plenty of comments on Thursday. I'll make a motion that we take this to full council.
I'll second.
All right, do we have a recommendation?
Yeah, I'll make a recommendation for approval.
I recommend we approve fewer homes than are coming now.
Hmm.
All right, so we have a recommendation to send to council with approval.
Yes.
So we have a second on that. Did you second that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No other discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, and the last item we have on the agenda is the request to rezone TMS number 13010000084, located at 820 Wassamasaw Road, approximately 0.25 acres, and owned by Anthony and Parnese Witcher from NMX Neighborhood Mixed Use to NR Neighborhood Residential. This is in Council District 1. Planning Commission held a public hearing and made a recommendation to approve the rezoning at its meeting on November 17th. The primary reason for this is they have an existing mobile home on the lot. They wish to replace that with a newer mobile home. The neighborhood mixed use zoning does not allow for mobile homes, and so the neighborhood residential does. As you can see, there is neighborhood residential across the street. So it certainly isn't a spot zoning or anything of that sort.
In terms of zoning, this is a down zoning.
Correct. Less intense use.
Right, thank you.
I'll make a motion that we move it forward with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
All right, a motion to send to full council with recommendation for approval. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion. we
I'll
adjourn.
second that.
Oh,
Very quick. Can you slide withdraw that motion? So that you can make a motion to resume regular order?
okay.
So.
I'll make a motion, we resume the regular.
We got
order.
it.
Withdraw your first motion to your motion.
Oh, I
to adjourn.
withdraw that one.
Okay. Next.
And making that, motion that we go back to the original.
Second.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye. Make a motion, we adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
That's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's already in there. Well, it'll come out.
You got any pictures? Yes, well, I think Williamson.
Okay, if we could bring the Parks and Recreation meeting to order.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to introduce to you William Fishburne with Brookfield Properties, who is the master developer for Nexton, and who is bringing this request to you after discussions with town staff about the possibility of enhancing. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Those discussing other issues, if you could please take it outside.
I'm going to introduce to you William Fishburne.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for taking the time tonight. I'm, as Scott said, William Fishburne with Nexton. Perfect. Appreciate you guys taking the time tonight. Here tonight to talk about an opportunity to enhance the landscaping at the Nexton Parkway interchange and or exit 196, however you guys want to think about it. This interchange is not only the gateway to Somerville, it's an entrance to Nexton, and really it's the first thing you see as you enter the Charleston region. So we feel like there's a pretty great opportunity to kind of do something special there and improve it. So we're excited to kind of make you aware of that opportunity tonight. I'm going to start off here with a quick overview of what we're going to talk about tonight and go right into kind of a couple of the precedent images just so we can all be familiar with what the interchange looks like today. Let you guys take a look at those. And then some thoughts of what we think it could look like in the future, based on some of the existing interchanges along the interstate.
I'll make a comment that you see,
Whoops, you want to go back?
you see, that's the North Charleston, one of the North Charleston entrances. Where's this 199?
Yeah, I think there's,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it right there. That's one quadrant of the 199 exit going westbound on 26. That's, you go right, that goes into Nexton off the interchange right there. It looks a lot better than this image. It looks a lot better right now than it does in this image, but for whatever reason, it's only that one quadrant that we have landscape of either of the two interchanges here in town. So just for comparison's sake.
We also think there could be opportunities for signage. I think that's probably a deeper discussion, but we certainly think there could be opportunities there. As you can see here, that some of the ones that are along the interstate are along 526. What we are asking for and planning right now is to design those improvements next year, permit them over next year in 2027, install them in 2027, and then turn them over to the town for maintenance starting in 2027. I'm here tonight to ask for the town to partner with us in a 50-50 proposition. We would propose to spend about 800 grand total next year in the design. We would be half, and we're asking for half from the town. In 2027, we propose to spend about $1 million on the actual installation of those improvements to include irrigation. Again, we would ask for the town to participate in half of those costs, and then turn it over to the town in 2028 to maintain it. That's all I have today. Again, excited about the opportunity to be here. Any questions?
Let me make just a couple of comments. We met when Amy and I met with Nexton to hear this proposal from them. Amy believes that we can bring this into our current contract, our landscaping maintenance contract for the interchanges that we have now. And then after installation, of course, this is something that we think is important to the town with regard to the image that the town projects. And then it also will fulfill or begin part of our contribution, the town's contribution to contributing to improvements of gateways into town, which is contemplated in the Dorchester County Somerville vision plan that just concluded and that will be released, the results of which are going to be released very soon. Y'all have seen the draft of that. But gateways, improvement of gateways was one of the tenets of that vision plan. And so this would be a start in that direction. And we could, if y'all agree to it, we could incorporate this project into the next couple of fiscal years, starting with fiscal year 2027 and then fiscal year 2028. So we would talk about it as a part of our budget discussions that are going to start in January. So just some thoughts from the town staff side on the viability and the logistics that would go into potentially doing this. So.
And I'd just like to ask, when we started this years ago, there was a plan, well, DOT didn't even have a Somerville sign out there. So maybe if we could get those done in a historical sign, saying historical Somerville, because I believe right down the road, it says historical Goose Creek. So.
We are open to suggestions for sure.
Scott, has there been discussion with staff that what the funding source potentially would be for this?
Well, as you know, we have several funding sources, revenue sources that we could potentially tap into. Ron and I can't remember if we talked about this much or not, but much like we've done with other projects, we would cobble together funds from a variety of different sources. Certainly tourism taxes is something that we could tap into because this would be serving a tourism function. There's certainly opportunities, I think, to go to Palmetto Pride through state grants. We could also engage with the State Parks, Recreation and Tourism Office and see if there are any funding opportunities there as well. So I think we could pull these funds together and participate if that's something that y'all see fit to do.
Is there a deadline for this that we need to give an answer?
No, not on the staff side. As I said, this would be an ask that we would bring to you if you wanted to go further with it, and we could use this as a part of our discussions for the budget for fiscal year 27.
So is this information or do we may need to make a motion?
I think this is information at this point, unless y'all want to kick it up to the finance committee. You can push it to the finance committee, or we could just have this as a part of the discussion for our budget talk starting in January.
That sounds good.
But if we needed to get some more information, happy to do that, and we would have that for you next month.
I'd really like an opportunity for the rest of council to maybe discuss their thoughts on it. So if I may make a motion to move this to full council.
Sure.
Okay, all in favor?
I
Thank you.
make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Oh, I got some glasses up here. Too. Glasses. Are those yours, Mom? Yeah. Found them. All right, we'll call the Public Works and Committee on Water Supply to order. Oh, you got these for us to read. And Ms. Bonnie, I'll turn it over to you, who will probably turn it right back over to us.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is update on the dedicated sidewalk and crosswalk funds spent this fiscal year, balance that was left from last fiscal and what's remaining. With this project, I started getting deep into the weeds and, trying to separate the fiscal years. So I'm going to turn it over to our awesome finance director to help better explain what we have spent.
I try to make things really simple because I'm simple. So last year we budgeted $500,000 for the sidewalk project, which we thought initially was going to be the whole Central Avenue. That's all we really needed. Fortunately, we got the earmark. We ended up with a budget of about $850,000 is what we thought. We had a $400,000 earmark. The remainder was coming out of general fund. We had an additional expenditure of about $30,000 for Dominion to move a gas line. So we had not planned on that. So that increased our total cost. So our total cost was right at $887. We spent the $400 obviously from the earmark fund, which left $487 just under for our general fund. So we pretty much expended everything that we have budgeted for FY25. Now, some of those expenses are actually carrying over into 26. So that's why it was a little fuzzy there, but that's pretty much where we are. This year, we have budgeted $500,000 in our capital fund for sidewalk. I think initially that was kind of dedicated to what improvements we were going to make on Lee Street. We pushed Lee Street down, and Bonnie can kind of update you where we are on that. But that, as far as the money goes, that's kind of where we are on sidewalks. Obviously, we don't have enough allocated for projects that we need.
Do we suspect that Lee Street is going to take all of that 500,000 probably plus
More.
that?
Yeah. I think probably significantly more from what I've been told and what I'm looking at.
Where were we on that one, on the Lee Street one? And thanks, Ms. Rhonda. So once again, you're just telling us we don't have any money.
Yes, we left Lee Street off and I wanted to get it built potentially last year before school started.
Right.
And went to piggyback off Dorchester County's
Right.
contract, and we got the two quotes, and they were both, like, one was 700,000, and then one for more piping included was close to 900,000.
Okay.
So after that, it was,
I know we just-
okay, well, we'll just bid it out. So we need to update the plans because DOT's permit has expired. So going back to the engineer, I'm working with him with a new scope costs proposal for the updates that's needed to get it to a place where we can now re-permit it with the lots that have been developed out there, because the survey was taken back in 2019, 2020. So yeah, so now we're in there, and then hopefully beginning, early part of next year in the spring, we'll have the updated plans. We'll go for permitting, reach back out, because getting permissions from right away, or for right away permissions from the owners, to tie in if any part cannot stay in existing right away and has to encroach on the private property, that's what held us up, the last time. But I feel like
Thank you.
we'll get it done this
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
Do we know approximately how long, how many feet Lee Street is?
Oh, I had that information. Wow.
That's okay.
Like
Yeah.
not even a mile, or maybe a half a mile.
And sorry, I got off the topic a little bit, just with that question, it just spurred sort of mind when we said the Lee Street sidewalk.
Yeah, but that's a good segue into the next item about
Were you good on
if-
the financials? You got everything answered on the financial?
Mhm. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the next item is the sidewalk and crosswalk priority list from the Bike Ped Committee compared to when the town had completed and status on the prioritization of these projects. The first sheet in that packet that I gave you was the sidewalk and crosswalk priority listing. And the column to the left shows, most of this did come from the Bike Ped Committee. Lee Street, and then of course replacing the crosswalks on South Main. That is something that staff, put up there as a priority. And then there's some additional requests at the bottom just from members of the community. We get them, throughout the year. So just keeping a list of what's come in there. But, this list has, I'm sorry, I don't have one for the rest of everyone to see.
The bottom ones that say removed from 2024 listing, is that because those were completed?
They did not want to go through with it anymore. It was on 2024's listing, and then when they gave us a listing for 2025, that wasn't on it.
Is that Bike and Ped Committee is who?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
But it's just working through these. There's some notes placed, to the side that says there's a lot of coordination we can have with DOT and Dorchester County on a lot of these identified projects. The main one being this bulb out at South Cedar Street and West Second South Street. West Second South was recently turned over to the town because of Dreams project, their revitalization project on Short Central. And once that is done, that would be a good time to, hey, well, since we're working in here, then, reach out to DOT because that'll require encroachment permitting from them.
So on items that is a town road, when it says just restriping, is that something that y'all then direct staff to do?
Yes, if it is on town roads, we can easily restripe it.
And then the DOT, is there a process typically whenever Bike and Ped submits it, if it's a state road or something, do y'all then send it on to DOT, or how does that, what's that process?
We usually do request DOT do it, but then a lot of times if they let us know, we don't have, particular contract in this area, or, it'll be a while, then sometimes they will let us do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what happened on the crosswalk, at Azalea Park, that flashing beacon. I think it was a couple years ago. We went ahead and made that a high visibility crosswalk, the ladder style.
And we did that.
And it worked out well. We did
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
The next
Is the update? Okay.
on to
All right. Item C is the update on the dam issues and repairs for the Gadsden spillway. And, here's an exhibit. You can see this, this pond. There's been a leak in the dam and spillway for several months, and the pond level's gotten really low. Our stormwater crews have gone out there and injected it with foam to try to, stop it back up, and the foam just washed away. And so we're at the point now where, we don't feel comfortable keep working there, knowing that we don't have an easement for the dam. There's a lot of trees and brush that have grown on that dam. I've reached out to several engineers for an estimate and cost of, getting an assessment of it and possible work that can, be done, just a general rough estimate. And nobody is getting back to me.
Yeah, and let me add that this is a privately owned
that's what I
pond.
asked. Yeah.
Okay, so the town, as Bonnie describes, does have a 30-foot easement that runs essentially down the center line of the pond, which is basically the run of the ditch. And as best we can tell, this is not a natural fed body of water. This is a stormwater facility that was built for aesthetics whenever the neighborhood was built. And you can see on the map right here that the property lines for the surrounding properties extend into the pond, which means that those folks own that. Although, as we understand it from having conversations, a now defunct property owners association technically owns that pond. The mayor and I know Bonnie and Ryan have all been out there, and we've stood on this dam and looked at it. And it is a mess, and it will be a tremendous undertaking, both logistically and financially, for that dam to probably have to be replaced. But that's just me. But the bigger problem is that we constitutionally cannot spend any more funds than we already have on private property. And at a minimum, the town would need easements for access around the entire perimeter of the pond, and particularly access across the owner's property that adjoins the dam. So there's a couple of ways we could skin that cat. The first suggestion I would make is that we suggest to them that we set up what's called a municipal improvement district under state law, whereby you would set up an assessment for each of those adjoining property owners, and they would pay a linear proportional share of the cost of the repair to the dam. So if I owned, if it was going to cost $100 to fix it, and I own 10 feet of water frontage, then I would owe $10 towards the cost of that repair. The problem is that it requires under state law unanimous participation. So everybody who would be along there would have to participate. That way, everybody's sharing in it proportionally. That would be the best solution. Otherwise, we're going to be tasked with trying to negotiate and pay for and record easements for however many properties there are there. And again, this is not a part of our stormwater system. Ryan, I asked that question specifically of Ryan when I met him out there, and it is not. So those are the challenges that the town faces from the get-go, not, not including the fact that it's been impossible at this point to find somebody who'll even come out there and give us an idea of what needs to be done and how much it might cost.
Right.
So,
To do anything there. Yeah. I didn't realize that was not a pond. It was actually specifically for water runoff of the neighborhood. And I mean,
well,
I know it's used for that, but it's not,
yeah,
it
well,
wasn't specifically called out for that. when
yeah. So Ryan says it does drain. It drains,
Briarwood
what's
Lane.
what's the main, Central Avenue? Is Central Avenue? No.
Well, Century, you got,
Well, yeah, West Richardson comes around there. It drains West Richardson, but that's basically it.
and not Briarwood Lane from that side. It doesn't come down the backside,
It would cut, it does, it comes down across.
kind of
and
where
there.
Flood Street and all that, Flood Street
But
and
it-
everything. It's,
If that pond were not there, as I recall Ryan saying, if the pond wasn't there, it wouldn't make any difference to our stormwater management system. So it's just there for aesthetics.
well, the canal that's back there ties into the canal at West Carolina. Was that canal dug when they did the neighborhood, or was it dug, or do we know? Or was that canal
What
an
I,
existing branch of some sort beforehand?
yes, I think it was existing before the neighborhood.
Like a
was
branch.
done, and then they dammed it up
And then
to
they,
create an amenity.
yeah,
And we can't find any information on
Right.
the design of that dam. It was just, it's one of those things where, the pond is a nice amenity for the neighborhood,
Mhm.
those residents that live there, but it's,
Yeah, it's an earthen dam with a
Yeah.
concrete spillway across the top of it. On the downstream side, it's probably 12 feet high. From the bottom of the drainage, the ditch there. It's only a couple feet above the water level on the upstream side. There's a hole in the concrete spillway.
Is that what it is?
You can see at the bottom of the spillway, the toe has washed out, and it's undermining when
Undermining
the
the
water
dam.
coming through there, water's undermining the bottom of it, but that's not the problem. Vegetative intrusion into the dam is what has, as far as I can tell, caused water to be able to intrude in it, and it's just over time burrowed down through the entire height
Concrete.
of the dam, so
Concrete
that water's going through that hole instead of either staying in there or going in the drain pipe that's there. Now, we do have a drain pipe
Yeah,
in front of the dam that we open for potential flooding events. I don't know how long that's been there. So to the extent,
it's, I mean.
to the extent that we have some responsibility, at a minimum, we have responsibility for the drain pipe, but that's not what caused the undermining of the thing. So.
I know that we maintain the landscaping there on Old Postern Road there, because we had to have them come out and clear some landscaping and some brush right around that a few months ago. But do we maintain any of the other landscaping around it?
was it like a blockage in the culvert under Old Postern Road?
I don't recall.
not
I
a
just
bit of
remember
me.
Ryan.
We would not maintain anything around the pond. We would only maintain stuff related to stormwater, rights of way, that kind of thing, but not anything around the pond.
Like if it was causing a flooding issue, if there was a lot of debris or something, in the pipe, or a flooding concern where, we need to go in there and do some maintenance to clear it. Yeah, we go in there, but
They don't have an HOA in Gadsden anymore, I assume.
that's what they told
Yeah,
us, the residents we've spoken to.
Who maintains their, what's that?
Is this your?
Mm-mm. Is this? Who maintains their islands and like on Quimby and whatnot back there, do you know, or just a neighborhood, somebody just jumps out there and takes it on, I guess, I assume. Yeah, we don't know, okay.
Town doesn't.
No, yeah.
And my recommendation would be to not touch this thing with a 10-foot pole until unless at a minimum
Right, no,
you get easements from all of the property owners for access to the pond and good access to the dam. And then a funding source to fix something for the benefit of those property owners.
Yeah, I mean, I got a feeling this is gonna continue to wind up back in our lap. I just, you know, until it's resolved, but you know, the alternative to do nothing just means that the dam eventually fails and we've got a real big mess over there.
Well,
But really, it would just be a ditch.
Right,
through
but
the- it would
the
just-
property, I'm assuming slopes off pretty good on those bank edges. I swam in that pond when I was a kid, so I mean, I got a little bit of recollection of it.
it's silted into the
Yeah,
point right now
yeah.
where it's not deep at all.
Oh, it's not?
No,
Okay.
you could, I
Yeah.
bet you I wouldn't stand over my head the way that it is. It's probably not more than 10 feet.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't think it's 10 foot
At the
even, I don't,
bottom, yeah.
ever, but it was,
Yeah.
you know,
But-
it's still a pretty good drop off at the bank edge
It is.
down to the, not drop off, but if you walk to the edge of somebody's property, you're gonna step off probably
there's-
3 feet, you know, to a foot and a half, more than a
those
step
steps,
to get down.
yeah.
You know, you're gonna have not 3 feet, but maybe a foot and a half.
But the solution for
Yeah.
those folks would be to petition y'all to set up a municipal improvement district. And then that way we could legally, and they would have a hand in funding it. And then the town, that would, in my view, give the town the green light to help them with finding somebody to do it, contracting with people who can do it, contributing to it financially, but they've got to have, since they own it,
Right.
and I wouldn't recommend to you that you take it.
No, well, I
But
mean, this-
maybe there's some hybrid approach that
Right.
we could entertain.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm gonna continue to follow up with the engineers and others for information on, you know, what the cost would be.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, I was always under the impression that was placed there for
Water.
of practical purposes, not
Yeah.
just aesthetics, but that's misunderstanding on my part.
Yeah, but that's,
Okay.
the update there. You
Yeah.
know, we'll continue to, you know, we know it's not gonna go away.
So we got,
Um,
got
yeah.
no money and no damn,
Did we,
Yeah.
no damn money.
how does that work? Can we just maybe motion to put this off a month till council can discuss it further or something? Or what do we do at this point?
I think what we should do at this point is continue to try and find somebody who can come and evaluate this thing.
Right.
We need to shake DES, their dam division, a little harder. Bonnie's reached out to them. They haven't been very helpful, but we need to make some contacts, more contacts in Columbia. I mean, the state has a dam monitoring program, as a result of the 2015 flood, as you
Mhm.
recall. So, there's a bevy of new laws that are on the books, new since 2015, that regulate dams depending on how big they are, how much acre feet are behind it. But we need to get them involved and see if we can get somebody from that program down here to help give us some guidance. So that's what I would suggest that we do at this point. And then if we can get some sense of what it's going to take logistically and financially, then we can bring that information back to y'all to make decisions. But that's not going to be an overnight process.
And then what does DES stand for?
Department of Environmental Sciences. Yeah, it's the environmental half of DHEC. You know, DHEC got split up into DES and Department of Public Health. So DES and DPH.
Right.
On to the next topic.
Okay.
On to the next set of good news.
Yeah, I know. This one will be similar to the last one. The asphalt leak update by AT&T on the corner of South Laurel and West Second South Street. This was, you know, we kept noticing, thinking it was a storm water problem. Water kept leaking up in front of, you know, some homes there, ponding right there on, West Second South Street. And come to find out, it was coming through an AT&T conduit. It was groundwater. And They opened it up a couple months ago. I went out there and I saw how they opened it up, and you could just see the water just shooting out up there in that conduit. I guess another utility had, when they were doing some drilling, drilled a hole in it. And so, that was a couple months ago where they, noticed, okay, repair needs to be made. And then I assume that repair still has not been made. I reached out to them last week, and they said, trying to get crews scheduled, but with the DOT restrictions for holiday work and, their staff taking off time during the holidays, it's hard to do anything this month. But as soon as I know something from them, I'll pass that information along.
Thank you.
Okay, and then item E is Mary Street speed limit signs.
Yes, ma'am. That was just a request by me. If we can get 30-mile-per-hour signs put up on each end of the street. Chief Wright had placed the speed checker on that road for about 30 days or so. And yeah, probably, I think it was around 6,000 or 7,000 cars that rode Mary Street during that time period, which I was kind of surprised.
Okay,
Not, and that's one direction too. I actually didn't think it would be that high, but I drive Mary Street. I was probably 30 of those myself, but over that time period. But they had quite a few cars that I won't say quite a few. They had a handful of cars that some of them were 40+ mile per hour going in that direction. So I would like it if we get the 30-mile-per-hour signs put up there.
Okay.
Only
Is it not 30 miles an hour? Do you want it to be 25?
Well, I don't know if we can do 25, and it's a DOT road, correct?
Right. I reached out.
I don't care about us taking over the road. I don't want us to have it. DOT can keep it, but
yeah. Well, DOT is willing to do the 25
Okay.
mile an hour,
All right.
but they said because of the length of Mary Street, they wouldn't go out and just assess just Mary Street.
right,
They would do, all the residential streets in that area. I
right,
said, that's good because I'm sure, we're going to be getting calls from people that live on other
right.
streets,
Yeah,
especially if some are already marked 25. I think Parkwood's marked 25 or Germantown,
Germantown.
and some are marked 30.
Yeah.
It's that the standard is to have 25 mile an hour speed
Okay.
limit signs.
All right.
So, yeah, they will look at that, and hopefully by next month's meeting, I'll be able to provide an update
Okay.
of,
Very
what the decision was and which other streets were included.
All right. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And then can we get a stop sign? Maybe 2.
And then,
I know the backstory of the assessment and whatnot, and then want to take away the one that they didn't know was there for 2.5 years or 3 years. And my
Right.
feeling is if they didn't know the one was even there, we can sneak 2 in and just go ahead and get this over with, put it to bed.
right. When I did reach out to them and say, hey, can we get, the stop signs added? Can y'all go ahead and do that? If not, any objection to the town doing it? And then, of course, they said, oh,
Right.
by the way, while we were looking at that, there's this stop sign up here that was not
Right.
permitted. So they required a study to keep the four-way stop at Shepherd and Parkwood. And while, I contacted a traffic engineer to do that study, I said, go ahead and do the studies for Dorns Way and Simmons Avenue to show to DOT, hey, we'll need stop signs here. And so that's what is in the packet of just the 3 different studies that were done. They looked at, let me see. There's my notes. Okay, looked at all 3 intersections. They got vehicle counts along with bicycle and pedestrian crossing counts, because that was a big concern of mine. I'd seen all the walkers in this area and folks on bicycles. So they took that as part of the study, along with the speed studies and crash data over the past 5 years. And really what the recommendations were is to keep that 4-way stop at Parkwood and Shepherd, but the, additional 4-way stops at Simmons and Dorns Way were not justified.
Okay.
So that's where that stands. But they will look at, they said they would review the curves because if that's a concern and put additional signing, you know, if necessary, comes out with whatever study that they're going to conduct for, you know, that area south of Shepherd Street.
We had talked at the meeting a few months back that if they turned us down, we would just go ahead and put them up. Are we okay with doing that, or we're not okay with doing that, or?
I'm not okay with doing that. Just because it's, you know, it's not a town maintained road. I feel like, you know, I reach out, I have to, you know, work with DOT. I feel like the relationship is good.
Right.
And, you know, and they find out, hey, you know, y'all went ahead and did this. And then they're like, hey, why'd you do that?
Right. Yeah.
And then it comes back.
Because they told me to. All right, so nothing else.
Unless we want to take that road over,
Mm,
but, you know.
What were DOT's got now? I don't know. I just feel like we should have some input at the local level on these local roads, and we don't get much of it. And it's frustrating because we have to hear from our residents, just like we have to hear from our citizens on what's going on, you know, out here in front of our
Yes.
from where we're standing right here. So, you know, we wound up shouldering that as the local elected officials. And then we can't get anything done for our citizens in return either. So it just kind of compounds on top of
Right.
top of.
Right.
Refer people to their DOT commission.
It's just a vacant seat.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't seem to do too good, Scott. I don't know. I don't know. That didn't work too well. So
I mean, if
that
speeding is.
didn't get anything done either. So.
Maybe we can get, you know, the police to step up.
Yeah, they work that road a good bit. I've seen them out there. They write quite a few tickets when they work out there too. So I know I'd asked you right about that before we brought up the stop signs, you know, last, 2 months ago.
Mhm.
But it's just one of those things that, you know, next time we'll just suggest that we go ahead and put a stop sign up rather than not going to DOT first. That's rather than asking for permission and then doing that. I wish we had just done that last time. That would have been like we have done with the Shepherd Street, like we did with, a few in Newington subdivision and a few others around town. So that's what we should do next time, that we as the locals feel that something's warranted there, just go do it. So that's all.
So did DOT tell us that we needed to do this study or something?
That's just their protocol. They have
Right.
a checklist and they're going to go through their checklist.
Yeah.
Because we asked for a stop sign, that's when they said,
Yes. And then they said, hey, we never have record of y'all doing that. And we need to have the documentation that it's justified.
and they can't just give us an easement or something to allow us to put in a stop sign. I mean, because we have done it before.
We can
Right.
take over the road, but that's all we can. They'll give us the whole street.
Right.
But once again, even if.
Right.
That's one.
And in the case of Shepherd Street, we do maintain Shepherd Street.
Right.
So you're thinking, hey, that is our
Mhm.
road. So,
Right.
you know, felt like
Well, I think we have Dorn's Way, don't we? In Dorn's Way.
we're
Horse?
getting Dorn's Way. It's on this month's meeting.
Yeah.
DOT,
Yeah.
commission meeting.
All right. Well, maybe we can do something there then.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'm trying, Miss Monty. I'm trying.
No.
Got some people on my back. All right.
Okay.
I hear a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, just that two subjects, right? I'm waiting for part of it. Yes, sir. Y'all were up there for a minute.
Yeah, well, that's your fault. That's the first. I know. You gotta be very bad.
I do too. Yeah. That's the precedent.
Well, hurry up.
Not being here a while.
Did I? Let out. Yeah.
Yeah, I originally went.
Let's get there.
What? Everything. Okay, everything, yeah. Somewhere, yeah. I think one thing she was headed back, but
All right. We have everybody up here. I'll go ahead and call the Finance Committee meeting to order and turn it over to you, Ms. Rhonda.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. You have before you the November 2025 financial report. That represents 5 months of our fiscal year, almost 42% completed. Total revenues collected for the current period, about 1.2 million, and year-to-date, 8 million. Our expenses for the month are right at 3 million, and year-to-date, 20 million. We have transfers in from hospitality. So we're in deficit position for the month of 1.5 million and just over 10.5 million for year to date. So you might look at that as if we started with $20 million fund balance, we spent half of it in the first 5 months. We'll spend down probably a little bit more in December, and then we'll start getting tax revenues in January. We got a little bit in November, but they'll start coming in next month. Any questions about the summary? So for revenues, property taxes, we did get a little bit of real estate taxes in this month. So for a total of just under 500,000 and year to date of 1.4. Our licenses and permits, 221,000, year to date, just over 3 million. We got, a larger, building permits of 102,000. So that was significant for the month. Municipal court fees right at 23,000 and just under 125 year to date. State revenues, which includes local option sales tax, 271,000 for the current period and just over 2.4 million year to date. Yep. So, okay. Parks and Rec, 28,000 for the month and year to date, 242,000. Miscellaneous revenues, 171,000 and just under 774 for the year. Again, total year to date for those categories are just a little over 8 million. Any questions in particular about the revenue categories? We'll move to impact fees. We obviously have the 3 categories for Parks and Rec, Fire, and Municipal. We collected just over 50,000 across all 3 areas, both residential and commercial for the month. Year to date, total revenues are just over 1.5 million. We didn't have any expenditures in the current period for impact fees, but year to date, they're around 350. So our excess is 1.2 million. Again, we do have, significant expenses for Creech, for the public safety design that will be coming out of this fund. Any questions, impact fees? Hospitality and local accommodations. We're on target at 44% of budgeted revenue. We collected just over $500,000 for the month and, right at 2.8 million for the year to date. We transferred out to the general fund, our typical 308,000 for the month. Other expenses, leaving a net for the period of 106,000, and year to date, close to break even with a positive 62,000. Local accommodations, current period 32,000 and year to date 175,000, and no expenses at this point. Any questions on anything? That fund. Lastly, stormwater fund, we started getting a few of the fees from the county. We received 72,000 in fees, year to date 108. We're still in a deficit position at just under 50,000 for the month and right at 800,000 for year to date. That will start to reverse itself as well for the stormwater fund. Any questions, comments?
No, thank you, Ms. Rhonda.
Okay, we have several policies that we kind of discussed or presented last month, and we pushed them off this month, so you had time to look at them and see what you had questions about, any suggestions you might have for changes. The first one is the capital fund. And it talks about acquisition, it talks about financing, it talks about replacement. Any questions?
I'd like to motion that council adopts the revised financial policies and the revised capital fund acquisition and replacement policy plan as presented in the amendments today, incorporating all those recommended updates for consistency, clarity, and compliance.
Incorporating the all the things that you had emailed out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? All right, hearing none. Motion doesn't carry. Council members, any discussion topics?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just need more discussion about this specific changes that would be made and how those would affect it, and hear from staff on how that would be affected.
I did see that Scott sent an email saying that time necessarily wasn't of the essence, and that some of these things could be worked out over the course of the next month.
Yeah, Rhonda and I have both taken a very cursory glance at them in the few minutes that we had today to take a look at them. So would be happy to take them back, digest them a bit more to see what is improving and what is duplicative in terms of state law, existing policies, ordinances, those kinds of things, to make sure that we have a clean document. And then the other goal, of course, is we want to keep it as simple as we can for our purposes and for your purposes. So if we could beg the council's time to do that and then bring it back to you and let you, with our eyeballs on it, and make maybe some comments from the staff level, and then y'all can debate and go forward as you see fit.
And I will say, like, I want to commend Rhonda for moving us forward in the right direction, because this is the way that we need to go and the policies that we need to have in place. So it's not about changing anyone's work or direction by any means, but it really is about making sure our policies are consistent, they're easy to read, they're transparent and provide a clear framework for council and staff to make decisions. And that's what I feel my comments provided. And it's similar to, you know, I wouldn't understand to talk about engineering or roads or surveying or any of that stuff. I have no knowledge in that, and I would rely on the professionals for that. But you know, legalities, legal terminology, and accounting, you know, is my strong suit and what I have a lot of experience in. And I do think that even if GW takes a look, that some of them will be worthwhile changes and clarifications for everyone.
I appreciate your input.
I didn't get a chance to read through the amendments today either, or to digest all of it. And I assume these will be, regardless of what we decide to do, ultimately, these will be living documents that will be amended over time and whatnot as a policy document. So.
And this would be part of our budget retreat too, wouldn't it?
Sir?
Typically not, I wouldn't think.
Well, I mean, we can bring these back to you for the next finance committee meeting in January. So that would obviously occur before the first budget meeting on the 28th. But we're under no deadline internally to get these done. So there's no rush. What the IPRB process did in issuing the bonds for the public safety complex, it did point out that there were some improvements that we could make internally with regard to documentation of some of these policies that Rhonda's put in front of you. So that's why we brought these to you, is to shore us up on that from that end. But again, no deadline, and we're happy to take a look at the suggested amendments and changes. There's another point I was going to make, but I can't remember what it was.
I don't have my agenda. Is there is the healthcare fund listed? Oh, we already approved that one? Okay, sorry, I missed that.
And just to kind of give you this is one simple item, but if you notice on your agenda, item 5C, it says discussion and consideration for approval of debt and investment policies. And then the document is titled financial policies. And I understand that's very minor, but if you're ever sued or anything like that, everything like that is pointed out when there's not consistency in your legal terminology. So some of what those changes were just consistent terminology all the way through. But anyhow, so can I make a motion then do we need a motion to postpone it then for next month for finance? All right, then I would make a motion that we push items B and C to January's finance committee meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to move the items B and C forward for the next finance committee meeting in January. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Item D on the agenda is an anti-fraud policy, which we didn't really have. I mean, we don't tolerate it, but it's not in a policy. We talk about it in our employment handbook as far as what we expect from our employees, but this is just kind of an organization wide. And I don't know if you had a chance. I did kind of throw this at you in the packet this time, so I apologize for doing that. This is something that's strongly recommended by our audit firm, and I did not act on it last year, and kind of tried to get it all together for this year. So, you know, if you feel comfortable approving it, it's something that you want to do. If you want to push this off, we can.
I make a motion, we approve that as written.
Second.
All right, motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Item E, authorization to surplus R61, a 2001 GMC 3500 flatbed truck with unknown miles, request from the Parks and Recreation Department.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Item F, authorization for the town administrator to enter into a contract with Bars Recreation for the redevelopment of Jody Park Playground not to exceed $500,000. Contractor was selected through a competitive bidding process. Funds to come from approved community development block grant and either local H-tax or A-tax funds. The request is from the Parks and Recreation Department.
Make
I'll
a
make
motion
a
to
motion
approve.
to approve that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion?
Has there been any preliminary plans for that at this time?
Yeah, so when we put it out to bid, we received back 11 responses, 9 of which were qualified. So yes, we have, Bars was the one who was the top. So we're working with them to finalize the design, but yes. That was presented as part of the RFP.
Can Bar fix a tennis court? No. Too soon.
We're a limited amount of money.
All right, any other comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Slett.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Finance Committee, have a very proud announcement to make. Our own Amy Evans was installed last week as the president of the South Carolina Recreation Parks Association. So she, along with Lenny, represents two sitting presidents of statewide associations. So I think that speaks well of the town of Somerville and the staff you have working with you and for the residents. Town Hall Christmas lunch is this Thursday at noon o'clock. Y'all are all welcome. Please come and join us. Bonuses for employees that you all approved in October were issued last week. And so those amounts have hit everybody's bank accounts, and hopefully they are spending them in good cheer and with wisdom. We signed the installment purchase revenue bond documents last week. So that process is concluded, and a little over $42 million will be deposited into the town's trust account on Wednesday, I believe. And so it is getting real. In fact, in support of that, fire department, police department have now exited the existing facility. It is abandoned, and they are going to do some training in that in the building before it is demolished, hopefully starting later this month, if not early next month. But you will see things beginning to happen on site, and dirt and debris getting moved. Related to that, Chris Mikowski had a meeting today with a software firm, PR. What kind of Stitch Digital, who is going to be running the website for Edifice, who's our general contractor on the public safety complex, so that real-time information will be available to residents to see the progress of the work that's going on. Edifice has already begun canvassing the neighborhood and letting residents know what's going on, and providing them with information and contact information for people to whom they can direct questions and inquiries as we get underway. So that is all I have to talk to you about. Are there any questions about what I covered or what I did not cover? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.